And time now for another Golf Today roundtable. This one with Paige McKenzie and Karen Stupples. Great to see both of you. Now, Paige, listen, tomorrow is box office, but if I'm an LPGA player, am I embracing this Caitlin Clark madness, or am I a little upset that the biggest star on the property plays a different sport?
Okay, let's reframe this a little bit. Biggest sports star in professional basketball that wants to play in a PGA Tour Pro-Am. Do you think the PGA Tour guys are upset that they're taking away spotlight from them? No, I think they're excited that the best athlete in the world is engaged in the game of golf. And I think the women think no differently. You've got the best or the most prominent women's sports star that is interested in our game. That's a good thing.
Karen, you were out there last year watching Caitlin Clark in her first year, and there were a crush of people following her around all day, all genders, all ages out there. We can pretty much assume we're going to see the same tomorrow, maybe on steroids. Is there a way, there's no playbook for the LPGA Tour, though, to figure out how to sort of port that into the eyeballs following the LPGA after next week. Is there any suggestion you could come up with on how they can actually fully capitalise on the interest that Caitlin Clark is going to bring?
Well, I think that's a really tough question, because obviously you saw a great deal of interest in what she brought to the table last year. And there were spectators out there watching that had never been to an LPGA golf tournament before, but yet they were golf fans. In fact, they even said that they were fans of Annika and Nancy Lopez and other players, and yet they had never been to an LPGA event. So I think the lesson to be learned is where do Caitlin Clark's fans all come from? I mean, you've got to go to where she's playing basketball, to those towns and those cities, and try and get them involved in the LPGA Tour more, try and host an event somewhere nearby so more of those fans can actually come and see more LPGA events. You've got to make it easy for people to come and watch again once they've already bought in and seen what's available.
Paige, how about you? Is this week replicable in any way, where there are eyeballs on Nelly and Lilia Vu and Gino Thitikul, and that the LPGA is exciting every week, not just when a crossover star is playing in the Pro-Am?
I mean, the crossover star is a unique situation. I think all of the names that you listed are exciting, and we cover the game, so we're a little bit biased because we know them and their style of play. I think the LPGA has the opportunity to do things a little bit differently moving forward with the new commissioner. I'm hopeful that we're going to see new ways that they're engaging their fans. I have mentioned this a million times around Karen. I feel like the LPGA has an opportunity to do more instruction style in their production, in their TV production, because it's a relatable type of golf, and you understand how good they are when you can relate to them. And I think that's one of their biggest assets.
Karen, it doesn't really matter what tour you're on. There's nothing like a controversial sponsor's invitation to start the debate. It happens every year on multiple tours. This year is no different. This week in particular, President Trump's granddaughter, Kai Trump, has an invitation this week. She's got a lot of social media followers, pretty sparse playing record. She's not in the top 3,000 amateurs in the rankings. Given the fact that it's a small field, it's the last full event of the year trying to qualify for the CME Tour Championship, is it a wise use of an invitation this week in your mind?
You know, that's a interesting topic, and one that having been a player that relied occasionally on those last few events of the year to try and get some points, to try and get some money in the bank, to keep my tour card, I can totally understand. But I also know that I had a whole season before that to get into the event, to keep my card. Like, this isn't just the one standoff event. This is just where it's positioned at the end of the year. And I think that sponsors are so important to the LPGA Tour. I mean, I think we lose sight of the fact that the LPGA Tour is an entertainment industry. We have to look after our fans. We have to look after the sponsors. And then, obviously, we look after the players too. But first and foremost, I think sponsors are vitally important. So if they want to invite somebody to come and play, then they should be allowed to do that, because the players have had every opportunity to get themselves into a position before this week. So I don't have a problem with them inviting whoever they really want to invite. I think that this is an interesting invite. I mean, she is the granddaughter of the President of the United States of America. I mean, that's pretty significant stuff. And but I do think that I hope that she raises her game and that the moment brings out the best in this as an opportunity for her, because as the week goes on, if she doesn't play particularly well, the interest that she brings will slowly drop off.
Yeah, Paige, I was going to ask you the same thing. Any problems with the exemption, or is there any concern with this is a player who, though she's on her way to the University of Miami, may struggle in this form?
Certainly that's a possibility, but I have zero problem with the sponsor invite for all of the reasons that Karen laid out. I would also add, you know, Eamon alluded to it, she's got 2.5 million social media followers. She's also attracting a younger demographic as it relates to golf. And when you look across the sports landscape, it's becoming clearer and clearer that you need to capture the junior, the 8 to 12-year-old. And that is what maintains and lasts a lifetime in whatever sport it is, whatever fandom it is. It's becoming very clear that is the premier age that we should be seeking to have lifelong golfers. And I think she hits all the marks in that way.
There's so many players in the field this week, Paige, have an eye on next week, making that top 60 to be in the CME Group Tour Championship. Last year, only one player played themselves in at the Annika. That was Carlotta Saganda. One player fell out. Is that enough volatility in your mind at this time in the season, or are you happy with the way it's currently set up?
I'm happy with the way it's set up. I mean, obviously, the people on the bubble, they may want a little more volatility if they're sitting on the outside looking in. But I like the idea that you're not having everybody's season determination coming down to one single event, that you truly get an even distribution of points throughout the season where you're not having so much happening. If you want the high volatility, come up with the playoff system, and we see that on the men's side. But on the women's side, I have zero problem with how they have this set up.
This is probably, Karen, the deepest we've gone in a LPGA interview without mentioning Nelly Korda. At least we mentioned her briefly, but didn't really dive deep. Looking for her first win. She has a wonderful record here. How would you gauge her frustration level in 2025? And is this the week where everything, we put it off to the side, she finally breaks through on one of her favorite golf courses on the LPGA Tour?
Well, I think when we talk about Nelly, we look at how she's performed in previous years when she's had some time off. She's always come back stronger and better than she was before. In fact, she's almost relished the ability to kind of take some time off, work on her game, and to get it into a position where she can come out and play with freedom. And I think this golf course allows her to be free. You said it. She's played very well on this golf course before. And so I expect her to have a really good showing. Wouldn't be surprised if she defends and get her first win this season. I think there has been a lot of pressure put on Nelly because of her 7 victories last year. And everybody's expecting the same from her. And it's been a completely different LPGA season. There's been so many different winners from so many different countries, rookies winning, first-time winners. I mean, it's just remarkable, really, what's been happening on tour. And they've all really shut Nelly out. Nelly's been there a couple of times trying to break through, but you've had a rookie or a first-time winner that's been the underdog story that's really been the key on tour this year.
Speaking of American icons having unexpected seasons, Paige, a year ago we sat here essentially on the Lexi Thompson retirement tour. She's played a dozen events this year, and she's going to be in the season finale next year. There's no way she's going to drop out at this stage. How impressive is it, the fact that she has qualified for that, playing what is at best a part-time schedule?
Well, I would say the majority or the entirety of her career has been impressive. Everything that we've seen from age 15, 16, 17 years old to what we're seeing today is impressive. What I think is exciting is she seems happy as a human being with this limited schedule, made personal announcements earlier in the year as it relates to engagement, and having balance in life leads to longer careers. And I think every single professional golfer will say that, and it appears as though she's figured out some sort of balance that has continued to allow her to play at a high level on a reduced schedule.
I'm curious, guys. Karen, I want to finish with you. Gino Thitikul, the bounce-back victory she had after the missed short putt, is that put behind her? Because that looked like that would have left a scar from an emotional standpoint, a player who's looked at as so rock solid. But getting that second victory this season, how important was that for her going forward, considering she's still in the early stages of her professional career?
I agree with that, in that you know, every time you miss a short putt, it does create a little bit of like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that happened. And your confidence can definitely take a bit of a hit. But not only from missing that short putt at Kroger, but you think back to the Amundi Evian Championship where Grace Kim just beat her out by playing some amazing golf in the playoff to edge her out of that one too. I mean, Gino's been close so many times this year, and to only just come out of it with 2 victories. But when you are able to wash away those bad memories with a victory, yes, you can kind of move on a little bit. But I still fully maintain that those little misses and those victories that are almost there, right within your grasp, but you don't quite pull it off, they sit with you. I think every single player's had those close calls. They can still go back to a shot or one thing that happened over the course of that round or 2 rounds or 4 rounds that they can put their finger and say, that was the shot that I want to have back because I know that I can make it next time. And that never leaves you. So every time you tee it up, though, it's all start afresh. But when you come home at night and you sit back and you think about your career, you'll still remember it.
Oh, no question about it. Huge week on the LPGA. Paige and Karen, thank you so much for your time.